Greetings, dear viewers. It is I, Drehon, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons Character Concept. In this series, we take a race from Dungeons & Dragons and look at the lore to see what backgrounds and classes best fit with that race. Today, we are taking a look at the Gith Jedi on Sith Zerai. Gith Yonkai and Gith Zerai. My apologies. I do not know how I got that mixed up. Wait a second. This is National Star Wars Day. That's how I got it mixed up. May the 4th. Very weird day to have a National Star Wars Day, but whatever. Anyway, today we are looking at the Gith Yonkai and Gith Zerai. The combined race is the Gith. They were previously slaves to Mind Flayers before their big ol' rebellion. And they have psionic powers. So, more or less, these guys are technically Force users. So you could technically make a Gith Jedi or a Sith Zerai. Oh, that pun is going to get old real fast, and it probably already was old. Anyways. Like I said, there are two different subclasses, the Gith Yonkai and the Gith Zerai. The Gith Yonkai are slightly more evil, unfortunately. And they've been best described as space pirates. So, backgrounds for them would be soldier, pirate, knight, knight of the order, gladiator, haunted one, or even the faction agent. For classes, I would suggest going with either the fighter, the paladin, or the rogue. For the Gith Zerai, these guys are more of the peacekeepers. For the backgrounds, I would suggest either the cloistered scholar, the sage, the faction agent, the dissenter, the hermit, or the haunted one. For classes, the best two that I can think of would be monk and rogue. Now, there is technically one other quote-unquote faction in the Gith race. It is much like the Jedi, the Sith, with their Grey Order. We have the Gith's Grey Order, I'm going to butcher this name, Shazal Ko. Alright, now that we've gotten that over with, let's go ahead and take a much deeper dive and see what subclasses would best fit a Gith. Starting off with an easy one, Rogue. For a Gith Yonkai, it would make sense to go full-on pirate and grab the Swashbuckler archetype. For a Gith Zerai, a scout would be more fitting. But whichever one you might choose, you might actually want the Soul Knife Rogue. Next off, we have the Monk. For the Gith Zerai, the Drunken Master, the Kinsei, and the Cobalt Soul would make the most sense. For the Gith Yonkai, Astral Self, because they live in the Astral Sea, the Kinsei, and the Ascendant Dragon, because of their pact with Tiamat. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. And again, there is also the Soul Knife Monk, which I forgot to put in here that it is an Unearthed Arcana. Whoops. Either way, let's go ahead and continue. For the Fighter, for Gith Yonkai, you might want to go with a Benarat, a Battlemaster, a Cavalier, a Renegade, the Gunslinger, or the Unearthed Arcana's Knight. Now, the Cavalier, because Once again, thanks to Tiamat's pact with them, the Gith Yonkai are known to be dragon riders. So being a cavalier makes sense, especially when you're riding on top of a big, huge dragon. More specifically, the red dragons. For the ranger, Gith Yonkai best go with a Drake Warden, which is Unearthed Arcana. For either Gith, you can go with the Horizon Walker, since they are still hunting, not only clashing with each other, but are also after the Mind Flayers. Now, this is where the Zal Ko come into play. While they are a neutral faction, more or less, they are technically hidden in the ranks of both Gith Yonkai and Gith Zerai. They want to reunite the Gith into one race. They don't actually call each other Gith Yonkai or Gith Zerai. They just call each other Gith. Because that is their hope, to reunite the race. Anyway, moving forward, we have the Paladin. While both Gith would probably go with an Oath of the Watchers, having a Gith Yonkai of either Conquest or Devotion would make the most sense, because that's their whole deal. The Gith Yonkai basically want to take what they were denied so long ago. For a sorcerer, while both Gith Yonkai and Gith Zerai would best fit the Aberrant Mind, a Gith Zerai would best fit the Wild Magic as well, since they live in Limbo, for the most part. And the Gith Yonkai would be best fitting for a Draconic bloodline on top of the Aberrant Mind. And that is because there is actually a sub-race of the Gith Yonkai known as the Duthka Gith. These are half-dragon Gith. Once again, born from the pact that Valakith and Gith made with Tiamat. Most of the Gith Yonkai don't really trust these Duthka Gith, but it's more of a necessity. For Wizard, the Gith Zerai would work well with a Graviturgy or a Transmutation Wizard school. The Gith Yonkai with War Magic and Blade Singer. Or you can go with Order of the Scribe or the Psionics schools if you wanted to go with either one. I can never find the right words to say anymore. Moving on to Warlock, this is only going to fit with a Gith Yonkai character. Hexblade, Undying, Seeker, and Fiend. The Undying represents their Lich Queen, Valakith. The Fiend would represent Tiamat. Seeker more or less also goes with Valakith, though you might have one or two Gith that might find another aberration to make a pact with, so Seeker would make sense. For Bard, this is more of the Gith Yonkai. This mostly represents the feature that the bards get, Jack of all trades. Gith Yonkai have been known to take on many different hobbies, but never try to master them because they get bored too easily. For a Bard Gith Yonkai, the College of Swords and the College of Valor would make the most sense. Now on to the Cleric. For the Gith Yonkai, this goes in tandem with Tiamat once again. Trickery, death, and war, though the Death Cleric once again represents Valakith. For the Gith Zerai, the Domain of Order makes the most sense. Now, other domains you could use would be Domain of the Mind. You can also use the Unearthed Arcana's Unity, or you can use the Peace Domain. This mostly represents the Shazal Ko Giths. Well, I think that's all the time I have for you today, my dear viewers. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, this has been Drehan, and I am offline.